Hey you! Want to see a movie about a race of underwater beings but ain't remotely as visually appealing as Avatar 2 or even the first Aquaman film? Want to watch a flick about two royal brothers who were previously adversaries and are now reluctantly forced to work together in the sequel to stop a bigger threat, but in a film that somehow ain't half as exciting as Thor 2? Want to enjoy a Snyderverse adaptation of a DC Comics hero, but don't like Amazonians, bats or a single shred of narrative cohesion? Well, have I got just the movie for you, fella? For I give you Lobo's Adventures in Babysitting. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. A movie so thrilling. Even the villain initially tries to stay in his own prison cell rather than participate in this bloated mess of a sequel, whilst the other main villain decides he'd rather willingly fall down into an underground watery abyss and be buried alive, rather than risk any remote possibility of being brought back for a third film.
Live.
The movie stars Jason Momoa, and here returning to Atlantis for a second time in his career. In the lead role is Arthur Curry, a now reluctant king of an underwater empire, who must battle to stop his arch-enemy Black Manta from trying to snap up his newborn baby, and thereby resurrect an ancient Dark Lord fella and his legion of zombie goons. Cause turns out the mind of this bug-eyed Black Manta buddy is slowly being possessed by the evil spirit of the old king Kordas, who's making him steal a volatile energy source called orichalcum in order to heat up the planet and thaw out the location of the Lost Kingdom, and thus turning the whole movie into a cringy lecture on the perils of climate change, which even gives that Doctor Who bird a run for her money.
In your time, humanity's busy arguing over the washing up while the house burns down. Unless people face facts and change, catastrophe is coming. People can save planets or wreck them. That's the choice. Be the best of humanity.
Nobody cares! And you need to shut up!
Also featuring James Wan favourite Patrick Wilson, who, to be fair, looks and acts more like the comic accurate Arthur Curry than Momoa ever does, as well as that Amber Turdbird, who understandably gets her screen time severely sidelined in this sequel after taking a steaming deuce on Jack Sparrow's bed and getting publicly annihilated in an infamous court case during filming or some shit. The movie is a headache-inducing nautical mashup of various similar genre films, such as The Matrix Revolutions, Journey to the Mysterious Island, and of course Black Panther, given Atlantis is essentially just DC's Wakanda. And look, they even do the Tony Stark press conference confession ending from the OG Iron Man, for fuck's sake.
I am Iron Man.
I'm the king of Atlantis. I am Aquaman.
Fuck you!
Anyway, chock full of star-studded cameos, from the likes of some sort of Sauron cosplayer, Tom Hanks from Castaway, and even a cute octopus mascot called Topo, who's undoubtedly just included here to sell toys Star Wars style, whilst Nicole Kidman tries her best not to go the way of Willem Dafoe from the first movie and end up dying off screen of pure cringe, but just ends up looking thoroughly embarrassed to be there regardless. Directed by horror stalwart James Wan, whose genre credits include the ultra-gory Saw and bloodily violent Malignant, and thus is totally appropriate to make this family-friendly superhero movie about a bloke what can talk to fish and ride seahorses all day, lol, trust me bro. The movie sure made a splash in the cinema. Well, more like a small ripple I guess, given it just about broke even despite the original making $1 billion at the box office.
No!
Which is sad, because the movie does at least attempt to ask deep philosophical questions about human nature. Like, can we ever get over our misguided desire for revenge, even when it was our own father that got himself killed by stupidly shooting a rocket inside a small submarine? And can we ever babysit a small infant in a light-hearted entertainment movie without shamelessly sponsoring Guinness in blatant acts of product placement while simultaneously and irresponsibly promoting alcohol around minors? Ultimately, Aquaman 2 Underwater Boogaloo is a movie that was perfectly fine for a Saturday evening's entertainment, despite it not being the biopic of two royal brothers who hate each other that I was initially looking for.
Bruh.
And whilst it's not top tier DC, like Wonder Woman, The Suicide Squad or even Shazam, it sure is a decent romp, despite feeling like it should have been made 5 years ago, cut a half hour shorter and also just generally less half-assed. Like seriously, why is this guy wearing an invisibility suit with the intention of not getting spotted and thereby risking damaging the political relations of the kingdom, but then constantly refuses to use it and keeps bloody switching it off? And why is his head and hair also transparent when he's not even wearing a helmet made of the same material?
That's a great question. I've been wondering that myself.
So what's the verdict? Can I recommend this movie? Well, depends on if you can stomach the sight of a once respected DC Comics hero constantly and literally getting pissed on. And not just by infant babies, but by sentient octopus squid who's also just tired of Momoa's grating shtick. Indecipherable accents with various terrible actors mumbling their way through their lines.
The fisherman will never allow you to speak to her.
Engage stealth mode.
Commence charge!
Take that island down!
You've gotta be kidding me.
Lazy pop culture references where DC tries way too hard to be Marvel and ends up failing miserably.
We can conduct reconnaissance in the meantime.
Yeah, look, Loki, I'm not asking for your advice on this. We've already lived up to your end of the deal. So you can go on back to Azkaban for all I care. No!
Hilarious overacting in otherwise dramatic scenes.
I'm sorry, son.
Where's Junior?
Penta took Junior.
No! No!
And such satisfying writing that the movie spends 2 hours building up to the arch-villain finally being resurrected, only to be anticlimactically killed off moments later without the bloody hero even breaking a sweat.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
But at the end of the day, I suggest making your own mind up about this one. So I guess you just need to ask yourself a few questions. Have you always wondered what a movie would be like if its main star treated the flick like a giant SNL skit, but in a movie that isn't about fast cars and furious characters this time? Have you always wanted to see a superhero film made by a Klaus Schwab superfan, and which ends the DCEU on a note of predictive programming by having an exiled character eat bugs, owning nothing and totally pretending to be remotely happy? Or have you always just wanted clear evidence of the total lack of competence in the DC offices? Given these guys clearly looked at Marvel and hilariously thought the best way forward was to remake Thor fucking 2? Well, if so, then Aquaman and His Lost Kingdom, my friend, is the movie for you.